My books, The Origin of Names, Words, and Everything in Between, volumes 1 and 2, are available to purchase from most major booksellers in all major formats. Order your copies today so you can enjoy these books for yourself and help support the channel. From the southern coast of the northeast of China, you will find the Korean Peninsula. On this peninsula lives around 80 million people. However, they do not all live in a single nation. The Korean Peninsula is famously split down the 38th parallel into two nations. I'm sure you all know about these two nations. One is a technological and cultural powerhouse, and the other a self-isolating totalitarian mystery. These are of course South Korea and North Korea respectively. The difference between these nations is staggering to say the least, and of course this difference was not always the case. In fact, for some time the entire peninsula was ruled as a single entity, with this splitting the land happening only after the Korean War, which lasted from 1950 until 1953. This means that the 9 provinces that each of these countries are made up of were once part of the same country, and respectively one nation claims to have rule over the provinces of the other nation and vice versa at times. So despite how different these two nations are, in today's video I'm going to be covering the provinces of both North and South Korea. Here's hoping my Korean pronunciation is up to scratch. It's also worth highlighting that while these nations have 9 provinces each, they most certainly do not equate to 18 unique names. In the same way the entire peninsula is split between the North and South, many of these provinces are split into Norths and Souths too. I guess that gives me a few less names to figure out how to pronounce. Also, in regards to the names I'll be using, I'll be sticking with the most commonly used English translations. A lot of these names sound different in the different dialects of Korean, but I'm keeping the names used in my mother tongues for my own sake. Anyway, this split in North and South province names is apparent right from the get-go, as the northernmost province of North Korea goes by the name of North Hamgyong, and of course just below it is South Hamgyong. This name of Hamgyong seems to be a combination of two of the cities found within these two provinces. The Ham at the start of the name comes from the city of Hamhung. This city is in South Hamgyong, and is actually the second largest city in North Korea behind its capital. The Yong in the latter part of the name, however, derives from the much smaller city of Gyeongsong, which used to apparently play a way more prominent role in the nation. And according to one article, it was in this city where, I am quoting here, Kim Jong-il figured out how a chicken can drink water. I have no idea if that's like a metaphorical thing or not, or he literally figured out here. Whatever the case, it's from these two cities where the one name used in these two provinces derive from. Also along North Korea's northern border is the province of Ryangang. This name also seemingly relates to two things too, but instead of two cities, it's two rivers, as the name apparently means two rivers, with the rivers in question most likely being the Amnok River and the Truman River in the land. Also for the records, I'm getting this information from the same source that told about Kim Jong-il's chickens, so take that as you will. But honestly, I couldn't find any other information on the origin of this name. I guess North Korea like to keep their etymologies a secret too. Carrying on across this border, we arrive at the province of Shangang. This is another province that has a name that has a combination of two settlements in the land. The first part of this name is an ode to Cheongsong County, and the second part of the name comes from Gangye County, which isn't even a county these days but an entire city in the nation. Next up we have North and South Pyongyang. This is probably the one many people will be able to figure out for themselves. This wider area is named after the nation's infamous capital city of Pyongyang, with the name of this city meaning something along the lines of flatland. At first glance, you might think that the name in North and South Pyongyang might just be a condensed form of Pyongyang, but this isn't the case at all. Like we've seen with many other provinces, this name is a combination of settlement names. It comes from Pyongyang of course, but also from the much smaller city of Anju. I'm guessing the end of the name Pyongyang is a reference to this smaller place. As we venture towards South Korea, we arrive at the provinces of North and South Hwanghae. This one once again is made up of two settlements in the region, these being Hwangju and Haeju respectively. You can see the started, these names have come together to give us the name of Hwanghae. In this case, Hwangju is seemingly a county, whereas Haeju is a city. Then finally for North Korea, we have the province of Kangwon, and guess what, team? This name is yet another combination of place names within the province, this time being the city of Kangrang and the city of Wonju. What's interesting in this case, however, is that the city of Wonju isn't actually in North Korea, but is instead in South Korea. I guess the name comes from when this peninsula wasn't split into two nations, and these two cities were in one larger province. And while that might not be the case anymore, that name has stuck around. But all that leads us on nicely to start talking about the other nation on this peninsula, South Korea. First up, we have the province of Gangwon in the country's northeast. You probably noticed that the latter part of this name is identical to the latter part of that last North Korean province we mentioned, Kangwon. Of course, the one in Gangwon and Kangwon both relate to that aforementioned city of Wonju, and in South Korea, it makes way more sense as the city of Wonju is actually in the province of South Korea. The former part of Gangwon's name comes from the city of Gangneung, which is also in South Korea too. Next up, we have the Gyeonggi province, and breaking away from the tradition so far, this one has a name that isn't a simple combination of two names found within it. This name means something along the lines of the area surrounding the capital, which should make it pretty clear to us that South Korea's capital of Seoul is within this province, or this province surrounds it, I ought to say. So while not just two names stuck together, it's still a little generic to say the least. Perhaps the next name we'll look into will prove to be a tad more interesting, with that name being Shungcheong, which is once again used within the names of the provinces of North and South Shangcheong. And guess what, guys? This province is named after the cities found within it, those being the cities of Cheongju and Cheongju. I mean, say what you will about these two nations on the peninsula, but it seems like the one thing they can agree on is how the majority of their provinces should be named. We then have Gyeongsang province, and once again, it's named after the cities of Gyeongju and Yeongnam. This is then followed up by North and South Jeolla, which have a name coming from the cities of Jeonju and Naju. Seriously, it's a tad repetitive now, guys. If there's any hope for somewhere in Korea having an interesting name, it all comes down to Jeju, which isn't part of the peninsula itself, but instead an island to the south of it. This island's name means province across the sea, which while isn't two names mushed together, is still a little to the point. And that's how all the provinces of both North and South Korea got their names. This video is a little shorter than my usual fare, but maybe some of you enjoy videos on the shorter side anyway. I mean, it doesn't help with my bottom end. I need to hit that 8-minute mark maybe to get those extra adverts in. Anyway, I did intend on this one being the usual length, but there isn't seemingly as much to talk about here. I know how many people love the popular culture of South Korea, and just as many people are fascinated by the mysterious North Korea. So I really wanted to dive into these names for those people. I shan't call these boring names like I did with Portugal, as in all honesty, I don't want to end up in North Korea's bad books. I guess sometimes we just have to go with the names that we are given. Though it made me start thinking, what if other states or provinces around the world were named how they are in Korea? For example, Devon here in the UK could be called something like Plimsotter, or Texas in the USA could be called Housalus. Okay, yeah, now I'm really just clutching at straws to make this video longer. Name Explain depends on viewers like yourself supporting the channel financially on Patreon, so a huge thank you to everyone who does. Donating just $1 a month helps the channel amazingly and gets you bonuses including ad-free videos, exclusive content, the power to request ideas to be made into actual Name Explain videos, and your name at the end of the video with all these awesome people. Visit patreon.com/NameExplain or click the link down below to find out how you too can support the channel. Thank you. Thanks for reaching the end of the video. Why not watch another and subscribe to keep up to date on all things Name Explain. You can find myself on Instagram where I'm NameExplainYT and join the Facebook group Friends of Name Explain to talk with myself and other name nerds. All that will be linked down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and once again, thank you all so much.